Good morning to everybody. This is B.MOHAMED FAIZE BASHA, Assistant Professor of B.MOHAMED College, Trichy. Today we are discussing about compiler design. Yes, compiler. What is compiler? See, before we go that, the outline of the compiler design in the following steps. 1. Scope of the course. 2. Disciplines involved in it. 3. Abstract view for a compiler. 4. Front-end and back-end tasks and models. Yes. So in this compiler, the following subjects are very important role, like lexical analysis, syntax analysis, syntax directed translation, intermediate code generation, runtime environments, code generation, and machine independent optimization. So according to the lexical analysis is also called as a scanner, because scanning the data items, like whether it is a tokens and integers, characters, whatever it may be. In this syntax analysis is also called as a parsing. See, the parsing areas are different categories like LL parser, LR parser, that is left right, then R parser, RL parser, top down parser, bottom up parser, like this we will discuss later in this following section. Then next, syntax directed translation areas like quadruples, triples, etc. Then next, intermediate code generation, how the codes are generated by the following. Then we'll discuss the runtime environments and the code generation. After the code generation, we can get the code optimization, that is minimization of the codes. One by one we'll discuss. So before we start that, the following terminology, according to the definition of the compiler, says that it is nothing but a program that translates an executable program in one language into another language, that is executable program in another language. We expect the program produced by the compiler to be a better one in some way than its original. Then interpreter. According to the interpreter, a program that reads an executable program and produces the results of running that program usually. This involves executing the resource program in some fashion. Our course is mainly about compilers, but many of the same issues arises in interpreters. Sometimes interpreters are also called as translators. So in this compiler, executable from one program to another program, it is nothing but from source program to target program, that is front end into back end. So before we see that, the disciplines of involved in the following: algorithms, languages and machines, operating systems, then computer architectures. So according to the abstract, we shows that from the source code into machine code. The source code is also called as a object code, that is the various inputs. Using the compilers without errors, we can get the target code, is also called as a machine code, as like a output. It recognizes the legal and illegal programs. It generates the correct code. It manages stores of all the variables and codes, an agreement of the format for object of assembly code. According to the front end and back end in the division, the following diagram shows that from the source code in the front end, then that is front end and to the back end, that is finally we can reach the machine code. See, in between the IR is nothing but intermediate representation of front end into back end. So the front end maps legal code into intermediate representation of IR, then back end maps into IR onto the target machine. It simplifies the retargeting. It allows the multiple front ends and multiple passes through the better code. Next, we are discussing about the following, the phases of the compiler in the next class. Thank you for your good cooperation. Thank you very much.